welcome to the Fifth Quarter Podcast. We've made it to double digits. Look at us go.
We're rolling, man.
Man, we've got a great episode ahead for y'all. We're going to recap Nicholls State. We're going to answer some of your questions. You know, right off the bat, we got to talk about Nicholls State.
Yeah.
Tell me, first impressions of that game. Defensive battle, I know you appreciated that in the first half, and then Bobcats kind of took it away in the second half. What were you impressed with the most from the Bobcats on Saturday?
I think I was impressed the most that we kept them to 3 points. I mean, you got to look at it. We had a great defensive performance. Anytime you go into a game like that where we're supposed to do what we did to them, the way we did it. I mean, quite frankly, we're supposed to be able to beat Nicholls, being that we're FBS program, they're FCS. But you look at how they've been doing the past couple of games, and that they have a very experienced and a senior quarterback who's been proven to move that offense very efficient and very well. I was real impressed on the way we performed defensively.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Chase Forcade is that quarterback you were talking about. It's like his 39th straight start. And for the Bobcats to hold a guy with that much experience and all those numbers and everything, to hold him to 3 points, that was pretty impressive. You know, and to start off the game, Brian London goes down, like second play of the game with his ankle. And then Markevian Coleman stepped up. Binky, as they call him, it's his nickname. He stepped up, and actually Spavital said he gave him the game ball because Binky played that well in the game. You know, going in there, he said he didn't even flinch going in there and having to replace Brian London. And that was big, you know, because Brian London's arguably the best player on this defense. He's the heart of that defense, calls the plays, does the whole deal. And for Coleman to come in and replace him, Coleman will be back next year. So that's a good sign for the defense right there. And yeah, and to hold him to 3 points the whole game was great, because the offense in the first half wasn't helping him out, wasn't bailing him out, and in the second half they started to really put it together. But no, yeah, 3 points in that game, no matter the opponent, FCS, whatever, that's still a great sign to hold them out of the end zone for a full game. You know, offensively, Jensen had arguably his best game as a Bobcat, especially that second half. Keep talking about the second half, but that's where he really shined. And really, he threw that pick, and he showed a lot of moxie to throw that and not get down on himself. So I felt like that happened before. He turned the ball over, kind of get mentally down on himself, and go out there, and the offense would struggle. Didn't seem like he let that happen. He had some good shots, especially the 77-yard bomb to Javin Banks, which was great. So good positives, but also a really good time for a bye week with the London injury and other guys banged up. So overall, I was satisfied with the Bobcats coming in here with number 9 FCS team and able to just they didn't really manhandle them, but it was a resounding victory. You know, I mean, 3 touchdown victory is pretty good in my book. So it was nice to see that. Nice to see it not a close game, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, and special teams wise, we love talking about special teams with them, with Seamus O'Kelly. We bring him up a lot, but he had another solid game. He keeps pinning him inside the 20. Rowland hit another field goal. We see Shareed returning kicks. It's nice to say that after last year, special teams was not great. This year, it's one of the strengths, which is shocking to me, and it's kind of an overlooked aspect of the sport, but it's important. It's very vital to that game, you know. So I mean, all facets of it, I was really impressed with the Bobcats against Nicholls State. There's one thing you could say that you watched them on Saturday that you're like, okay, they need to get better at this. Well, what would you think that is?
I think it's starting the game off. I mean, you can't start off flat the way we did. Offensively, I don't think we had a great first half of offense. You go into an FBS program, you play any FBS team, especially a Sunbelt team. You know, we have ULM coming in here for a Thursday night game. We come to ULM the way we came out of Nicholls. It's going to be very tough to pull off a victory there. So we just have to continue to put 4 quarters of good offense together. Just something that we just haven't quite seen yet this year. You know, we've seen it from the defense. Finally, we've seen it to the point where we play good special teams, we play good defensively, and then we put a great second half of offense together for a good victory. But it's just that one little area of our team that we have to improve on, and that's being able to come out and start a football game, start a first half of football game, and play some good offense in that first half.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny you say that, because there wasn't really the issue with the first few games where they actually started better than they finished. And at the time, I was like, is this conditioning? What's up with that situation? And so to see them play strong in the second half, the last 2 games, especially this past one, that shows me like, okay, it's not conditioning. They're in shape. They have the athletes to compete for 4 quarters. It's something, they're missing something else. And I'm not a coach and I'm not a former player or anything. And so it's kind of hard for me to put my finger on it. But they're missing that something in there to keep that focus and that same production through all 4 quarters, because they can do it. They can last 4 quarters. It's not like they're getting too tired and attrition gets to them and they can't finish the game. There's something there that they got to kind of unlock, and I think that's what's good about them going into a bye week this week, then a game on, then another bye week, which that's kind of interesting. But I think it'll give these coaches some time to kind of figure out what's missing. What's the missing formula to this to make this team as strong as they possibly can. They are improving though, which you got to love that. I mean, the bye weeks are kind of crazy too. With a bye this week and a bye next. Did you ever experience anything like that as a player?
The bye week?
Yeah, the bye week where it's like a bye this week, a game on, and then another bye week. I mean, they're playing 2 times.
There was one time that happened to us as a player. I remember it was like, can we just play some football?
Yeah,
That happened once. I can't remember what year it was, but it happened once in my playing career where I came off of, felt like we had 2 bye weeks within like 4 weeks or something like that. Yeah.
Do you remember how that went for you guys? Did it negatively affect you, or was it kind of nice to have that break? And
it was nice to the first time it happened, because I can't remember what opponent it was, but I felt like we needed extra time to prepare for that opponent, because it was a pretty big opponent at that time. So that first one was good. It was the second one where it was just like, okay, I wish we was playing this week so we can get rolling.
Because that's kind of how I'm looking at it, where they played 5 straight games and then they get a break.
Yeah,
definitely need it. With London hurt,
right.
Anthony D. Taylor didn't play last game. Frankie Griffin didn't play the whole game because he's still a little banged up. And so after 5 straight games, like, okay, they need a break. Good time to take a rest. But then 1 game on, and then another break, and then you finish out 6 straight games to finish out the regular season. That back end, that's going to be a tough stretch, because some guys are going to get banged up in those 6 games. But in the meantime, right now they need it. But that second one, I'm kind of with you, where that might be a little tough. Might be all that time off might actually affect them a little bit, but at least they get to heal up,
right?
And that's the good thing there. But some things that when we talked to Coach today at the press conference and said, what's your goal for bye weeks? He says heal.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of guys hurt. Because even, I don't know if I've mentioned him, Cordell Rogers was out last game too at corner. It's why Cam Winters started there. And he they're all guys just need a bit of a rest. There's even on the lineman, Tate Heitmeyer, I know he had some cramps a couple games ago, so they'll really benefit from.
Yeah, the bye week came at a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely came at a good time.
Get that nice long break in. Well, I think we should jump into questions, because
let's roll right into questions.
We went a little long with Coach Spavital, so we want to get to your questions. A little quick recap on Nicholls game, and we talked about the Nicholls game with Coach a little later too. But we want to get into our Ask Fifth Quarter questions, because we got a handful of them. The first one is one from last week, and it's a long one, and I wanted to get it in. That's why I went and found it. It's from Austin at Bubman XIV. I'm not smart enough to tell you the numerals right off the bat. But it's a sorry for a long question, but here it is. Hope it makes sense. This is definitely a question for someone with more knowledge about recruiting philosophy than me. Is a possible reason we see the coaching staff stick with Jensen over Vitt due to the fact that maybe the staff knows they will need to dip heavily into JUCO/transfers for upcoming recruiting and want to show they are willing to stick to those guys and have a solid chance to start if they come to Texas State program? Or is it more explanation just that Jensen was their guy, in quotation marks? They had come in and want to see how he handles full games. I'm with Keff, that's me, and think that it's weird that we haven't seen Vitt outside a tough A&M opponent. Well, there's a lot to unpack there. That's a long question. As far as why they're sticking with, the gist of the question is, why are they sticking with Jensen over Vitt? And I mean, recently, 2 wins is going to get you the job. I mean, right off the bat. He's coming off his strongest game at Nicholls with a bunch of yards and 200-something yards and 2 touchdowns, just the 1 pick. And And so he has shown recently that he has earned this job for now. But as far as if they want to play him to show other JUCO guys that if they come in that they'll actually get some playing time, I don't think that's what it is. I think because if he would have had that upper hand, him being Stitt's former guy and all of that, he would have started game one. But he didn't. It was Tyler Vitt who went out there and started, and they've been running with Jensen.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that just counsels that argument. I mean,
yeah.
I keep seeing it time and over again of that they're playing favoritism with Jensen because that was his guy and that's his buddy, and he came over with, with Coach Stitt from Montana. But it's just like, okay, if that was the case, then why on earth did they start Tyler Vitt against A&M? I mean, it makes no sense. At this point, I agree with you. I mean, that was my answer to it as well. Jensen is 2-0 the past 2 games. I mean, he had a big win against Georgia State. Then he came back. He had a big win against Nicholls. He had a great second half against Nicholls, and he hasn't done anything to lose the job. Okay, and that's just what they're going with. And that's just what it is. He has not done anything to lose the job. Had he continued to struggle against the second half of Nicholls, I think we very well could have seen Tyler Vitt come into that football game. But that wasn't the case, and I mean, they're just going to continue to stick with the guy that's been winning. And he definitely had a short leash, is what I heard, for the Georgia State game, where if he messed up, he was out, and he did. So he stayed in there, and that's why when he threw that pick against Nicholls, part of me was like, okay, maybe we'll see Vitt here. Maybe we'll bring Vitt out. And Jensen trotted back out there and went under center. And hats off to him. He took that on the chin and went out there and played well that second half after throwing that pick. Was able to really bounce back. So he's shown he can kind of be mentally tough and power through that adversity. Now, and why some people think that they're going with Jensen over Vitt because he's their guy, it's because I've heard some people say that they wanted Vitt to fail in that first half against A&M so that they could put in their guy. And that's just – and I get it. It's the tinfoil hat thing. You got to be a conspiracy theorist last week. I get why you'd think that. But no, that's not the case. Why would they do that? Why would you shoot your team in the foot? No matter the opponent, you want to win that game and you want to put your best guy out there. Why Vitt was able to surpass Jensen is because he has that leadership. He's got that repertoire with these guys. He was here last year. They trust him. They know him. And Jensen was kind of the new kid on the block. He still is. But Jensen, he's starting to, Coach even said it, he's slowly starting to win this team over and to be the quarterback and the leader of this team. And so I feel like that's where a lot of it goes. I still would love to see Vitt against a lesser opponent than A&M because I still believe in Vitt. I still think he can do some things. That's the thing. Oh, go ahead, Kev. Finish it.
It's the interceptions and stuff with him. They're not great, but it's the high risk, high reward, and I like the high risk. I like that big reward, or I like the high reward, I should say, not the high risk. I want to see that big play, and Vitt has that because we saw the deep pass from Jensen, but it was in my opinion, it was a better adjustment and better catch by Javin Banks than it was the actual throw, that deep ball. And I feel maybe Vitt could do that a little bit more. But right now, I understand why they're rolling with Jensen. You got to. Even with ULM coming up, there's no question. But
there's always going to be that what if. Mm-hmm. I think it's just I think that the coaches and this program has to get used to hearing it because there's just going to always have to be a what if our current quarterback is not attacking defenses down the field. I mean, Jensen is our guy. He's our starter for right now. He is a starter of this football team. But you're not above criticism because as of right now, he hasn't shown that he's willing to stay in the pocket and attack some of these defenses down the field. It's just something that Jensen has not shown to us. And Tyler Vitt has shown that to us, and it almost, it makes you wonder, like, okay, what if Vitt was in there? Would this offense be different? Would they be more confident in calling some of the calls that we want to see this offense run? That what if just continues to be there.
Bites at you.
It just bites at you, man.
But I think the same thing.
Every time, it bites you. But you have to just look at the results and say, you know what? I mean, Jensen is winning ball games right now. So, I mean, they just have to continue to just – if it's not broke, why fix it?
Yep.
I mean, that's the way the coaching staff is looking at it.
Yeah, and they will face stronger opponents than they have with Jensen's for these 2 wins he's gotten. And he has to continue to not turn the ball over. That's how he keeps that job and how he keeps Tyler Vitt on the bench. Is if here we go, got the train. Hopefully we're picking it up. Let's go. See, we don't have a green screen this time. Hey, think about that. We've been doing green screen or remotes. We're finally back here, and you can tell with the train rolling through. No, and that's. You know, he has to continue to not turn that ball over because that's what loses him the job.
Right.
Is when he turns it over, Vitt comes off the bench and he'll get out there. Because this defense is good enough where they just need the game manager to win games. Obviously, you want the guy who's going to win the game, at quarterback who's going to win the game for you. But he can do enough with this defense where if he just keeps them on the field and doesn't turn that ball over, he'll continue to stay out there.
And as long as they're being able to put together drives, they're going to help out this Bobcat defense. You know, before we've been playing very well defensively, but if you look at our defense, it's kind of been on sometimes it gets to the point in the second half where it's just like, okay, we've been on the field too long, we're getting a little bit tired. There's been other times where it's just like it's been kind of a bend but not break defense. Like they may get a couple of yards and then we'll stop them at some point on the drive. But you look at Nicholls and it was just like, okay, this defense finally had a chance to put together 4 great quarters of football, and that was partly because we started to see the offense move the ball.
Absolutely. They were solid throughout the whole entire game. Yep. And it was because they were getting that relief. It wasn't the offense going out and getting a 3 and out and the defense is right back out there. Right. They weren't as tired in that second half. Definitely paid dividends for this last game. Quarterbacks. We can go on and on with quarterbacks. Let's go to the next question, though. Let's see what else we got. This one is from Ron Miller, at Ron Miller 1432. New fan, love the podcast. Thanks, Ron. Welcome.
Appreciate you, Ron.
What can the university administration do to assist in recruiting, and are they willing? Great question. I love recruiting. I'll go ahead and take it from here. What can the administration do? Obviously, inject money. I mean, that's the biggest thing that you can do is you got to, if they understand that recruiting is the lifeblood of this program, and that's where it starts when you go get those players. Invest all the money you can in allowing these coaches to go fly out to games across the country, to go when they bring them in to let them have a good time, whether party in the park. We've seen certain events like that. Is to keep supporting events like this when recruits come out to the game. Like they just had a commit this weekend, which was winning changes everything, right? I mean, they win a game and got a commit from TJ Kutai. Sorry, TJ, if I'm saying your name wrong. It's at Independence Community College. You know them from Last Chance U. He's a middle linebacker there, 6'1", 235. Big kid.
I saw him. He looked good.
And he was here on his official visit. They win the game, and boom, he commits. But whenever that happens, because every game they're going to bring recruits, and when that happens, hopefully the administration is helping these coaches. So the support comes financially in order to make sure that they have a good time when they're here. And I'm not saying an illegal good time. I'm saying like enjoy San Marcos and enjoy it to show your best face to these recruits when they come in. And if they see that this school is supporting it in all facets, then it just makes it a more desirable location to come. Now, are they willing? I think was the second part of that question. Yeah. And are they willing? I think so. It feels like they are. Whenever I talk to like Brian Dean and some of these other administrators, Don Coryell, and he's more marketing, Don Coryell, it seems like they definitely understand the need to support this program in all facets on game day and recruiting and all of that. So I hope so, and I think they are. I don't think that's the issue because people, he may be saying that because you see 6 commits and you're like, okay, maybe they're kind of lacking a little bit. I think wins has a lot to do with that, in that it's a hard product to sell. And right off the bat, boom, they win, they get a commit. you win a little bit more, and that starts to happen more. And with this bye week coming up, they're going to hit that recruiting trail. So we should see an uptick in recruiting going forward now that people know what they're looking for here in this one.
Yeah, Ron. Administration wise, I mean, you're typically going to see the same thing in terms of the university administration, Sunbelt wide. It's not going to be too much difference in terms of just the things that they're able to do for the recruits, how they're able to have a stipend for, when the recruits come, making sure that they have a good time, furnishing them with food, dinner, things like that. That's pretty much going to be spot on from a lot of different other programs around the Sun Belt. But where the edge comes in is going to be the actual coaching staff. Is going to how the coaching staff does both on the field and off the field for these recruits when they're here in town, showing them around the city, San Marcos, rolling the red carpet out to them when they get here in the stadium, announcing, making sure everybody is making them feel at home, making sure the current players right here that we have here on the team is introducing themselves to the players, letting them know that this is a new era, rebuilding, some of those players turning into some of the, the biggest sellers on this football team. Yeah.
I'm looking at one. You're one of those guys. You still sell this program all the time.
Absolutely.
So it is important, and I hope they're doing that. It feels like they're doing that.
Yeah.
And I think it'll start to pay, especially this bye week and everything. They're really going to hit this recruiting trail hard. So we'll start to see that change a lot more, Ron. Welcome to Bobcat Nation. Keep hanging with us.
Eat 'em up.
Eat 'em up. All right, here we go. Thomas Nemec at TJ Nemec07. Nemec, sorry if I said your name wrong. Why don't we throw to Micah Hiltz more often? He's a massive target, and every time we throw the ball to him, he makes a big play. I'm with you, Thomas. I'm with you 1,000%. I look at him, and I'm like, get him the ball. Turn him into Keenan Brown. I don't know if he doesn't have the weight Keenan Brown does, but because Keenan Brown was like 250 and he's about 230 right now. Mm-hmm. But he's got more height than Keenan, and he can catch the ball like Keenan. Both
soft hands.
Soft hands. Yeah. Both were former receivers that moved to tight end. That bodes well for both of them. But I'm with you, Thomas. They need to get that ball to Micah, and I'm sure they know that. I'm sure you agree too, huh?
Keff was actually one of the first guys that pinpointed Micah Hiltz when I came to practice. This was early on. I think this was before game 1 started, and he was just you look out here on the football field, and you're just like, who was 83? He's just everywhere, catching the football, soft hands, and just making a presence here. And it's very rewarding to know that we're finally starting to work him into the offense. We're finally starting to give him the ball, and it seems like he's turning into one of Jensen's favorite people to get the ball to.
Gosh, if I was playing quarterback, he'd be my favorite target. Big tall guy, just throw it up high.
Just throw it to him.
He'll make you look good. Yeah. That's what you got to do. But we're with you, Thomas. We both agree. Throw that man the ball. Here we are. We have M. Benavides Jr. What's Vit's status regards to eligibility? Have we or should we redshirt to set us up down the road? I don't think he's going to redshirt just because you need. Maybe they might. If he doesn't play in 4 games at the end of the year, they can always declare it as a redshirt. But if you don't want to sit him out just specifically to give him that red shirt because you need a backup. He's the most solid backup they have behind Jensen. And Jensen goes down, you're going to want Vitt in there. You don't want to not play Vitt because you're holding off for a red shirt. They've got Cedric Case and they'll give a red shirt too and everything. But Vitt needs to be ready. And so shutting him down, I don't see them doing that. I think that's something that they at the end of the year they can go back.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think that's actually a great question because if Vitt doesn't see any more field time this season, there is a possibility that you can look back on it and then use this year as a red shirt so he can get another year. That's something that you possibly can do after the season, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
it doesn't have to be the first 4 games, or it's any 4. And so far he's played in 2.
2 games.
Started the first one and jumped in at SMU in garbage time. Threw that nice touchdown to Twyford for that game. So
hopefully that doesn't happen because he's playing more at the end of the games because the Bobcats have secured.
There you go. Garbage time.
Right.
No, but it is a good question. It's interesting to see what they'll do with that one. Whoops. Hello. Here we go. All right, Josh Groves. We know Josh Groves. What's up, Josh? What's the word on Brady McBride's eligibility for the year? Back-to-back quarterback eligibility questions. Well, it's nothing official, but everyone is saying he's not happening. Not happening this year. Unfortunately, he won't be able to get that hardship waiver process through quick enough to come in this season. And, it's a shame, but it was a tough go to begin with, to transfer in from Memphis and try and get him to play immediately, especially when he transferred in August. It's like halfway through fall camp. So, I think it's another what if. What if Brady McBride was out there? How would this offense look? But it's not happening this season. I will say, I think he's the guy. He's the future of this program. You watch him in practice, and he's exciting. Even though it's against scout team, he just can do some things. When he rolls out and throws, when he throws on while moving, is what's really exciting. That arm strength is what's really there with him. So he's exciting going forward. But we're not going to see him this year, unfortunately. But it's kind of a cut and dry one. We can go to the next one. Jordan Berry. What's up, Jordan Berry? I know him in real life. How do we keep this momentum going during bye week downtime? Former player, I feel like you would know more about that than I would. How do you keep the momentum going from wins into the bye week?
The only way that you're going to be able to keep the momentum going is to recover. That's the number one thing that you have to do right now is recover. Because, we have a lot of guys, like you talked about Brian London, like Frankie Griffin, just a lot of different injuries and nicks and this and that. So right now, the number one thing that we have to do is recover. How we keep the momentum going is by simply just letting your team know, you know what, we're coming off of 2 wins. This is when a team can see that we still have a shot at being able to win this conference. We still have opportunities to go bowling. We are 2-0 right now. And that's the approach that I see the entire football team is going with. You go on Twitter and social media, and you see a lot of the players are talking about 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. You see where their head's at right now. They're not worried about those other 3 games. They're worried about the now. What's the most important game is the next one. And right now, we have a big game coming up against ULM right here in Bobcat Stadium on Thursday, ESPN. Those guys are going to be fired up.
Got to eat what's on your plate before you can get to dessert, right?
Absolutely.
Got to take the job in front of you. Because I feel like that went a long way. We even asked Coach about that mentality of like, okay, now we're trying to be 1-0. Now it's 2-0. Like, let's forget that. It's about right now.
Right.
It's having that short memory. Even that helps a short memory from not celebrating from the previous win. Get over that win. You got a next opponent coming up. You got ULM upcoming. And so I feel like that's keeping that mentality. And, of course, staying on the practice field and keep practicing throughout the bye week and don't let up in practice. That'll help, too, keep that momentum going. Because you keep that mindset going, that mentality, and that'll keep carrying through the rest of the season, I feel. Let's see. Nicholas Jimenez. Is there – this is for Rec. For you. Is there a chance we see Dylan Jantz in future games?
How do you know this? Oh, okay.
He added you.
Okay.
At Rack Nation. He goes, how do you know it's for me? He started sweating, started to pull his collar, feel the pressure on him.
Is there a chance we see Dylan Jantz in the
I'll take it.
Go ahead.
I got that one.
But go ahead.
I got that one for you. Well, coming in, Jantz was definitely a guy, one of the higher recruits in this class.
Right.
Spavital guy, one guy they went out and got. I thought for sure he was going to break through and probably play a lot more. But then you look at receivers, you look at Hutch White, Mason Hayes, Jeremiah Haydale, Javin Banks, Micah Hiltz emerging as a passing threat. It's hard for a true freshman like him to break through this group because it's pretty deep. Future games. Now it says future games, so I'm assuming they mean this season. Probably you might see him in some special teams or garbage time towards the end of the year, but they might be trying to save him for a red shirt.
Yeah, I think at this point it's probably going to be a red shirt.
But for future games though, like down the road, in years to come, I think Jantz is going to be a name that we'll all know. He was a pretty special guy in high school, so he'll be a guy that'll come along. Just wait on number 4. They gave him number 4. So, whenever they give a guy a low number, they gave you number 1.
Yeah.
they think very highly of you.
Yeah.
By the way, I saw a picture of you on a pillar over here. Remind me to point that out to you.
Okay.
There's an old school picture of you looking all mean and everything. I was like, oh, wow, Rad's coming. Probably should have waited till the end of the pod. But, but I'm a weird guy, you know. But you want to read the next one?
I've noticed Cedric Case has been on the sideline with a clipboard, writing things down while the offense is on the field. Is this to help him with learning the playbook offense, or is it for something else? This is from Jude McLaren.
Oh, Jude. Hey, what's up, Jude? He works for KTSW. Him on the clipboard. Is that the question? Is specifically about why he has a clipboard and how that helps?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd assume he's marking notes for some of the coaches and for himself. He's still involved in the play calling process to kind of see how it works. When Stitt gives the play to Jensen, he's kind of there, you know, to marking what that is. But it also might be the clipboard is he's actually like keeping track of something for the coach.
Well, yeah, I can tell you exactly what it is.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Do it. So I'm speculating. Listen to this guy, former player.
Yeah, so normally when you see the backup quarterbacks, okay, just to give you guys an insight, all right, normally when you see the backup quarterbacks, they're going to be doing things like this, calling dummy plays, all right? Most of the time, they're not the ones calling plays. They're just calling dummy plays just to confuse a lot of the other team's defense. You know, some people try to steal plays. There's other times where you see quarterbacks with a clipboard and they're actually writing things down. All they're doing is they're writing whatever play was called on that particular time so that when the coaches go back and watch the film, they have their plays in order. They don't have to figure out, like, what play was this, what play was that. They have exactly their plays in order, and they can put those plays onto the film when it's time to input the plays. So when the coaches go back and watch the film, they know, oh, play 17, we called, you know, right hitch, blue forest or whatever. They can go right back to play 17, input it in the system, and they have every single one of their plays on.
Interesting. Yeah. Fascinating. So it's a little bit of decoy, a little bit of efficiency there going on.
Yeah,
at that deal. Interesting. There you go. Inside info. That may have been our last one. Yeah, that was our last one there. Well, that'll do it for your questions. Thanks for submitting those. Again, if you ever want us to answer your questions on the podcast, hashtag #AskFifthQuarter. That's #5thQuarter, number 5, #5thQuarter. Send those in and we'll get your questions in. We want to thank SHN Sports for always being here. Carl Schoening back there doing a great job at SHN Sports. My man Carl, too. It's a good guy. He was at Spurs Media Day yesterday.
Killing it.
Now he's here back with us today. Carl's all over the map. Now, and follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, download us on Spotify, download us or find the YouTube channel for SHN Sports at SHN Sports on YouTube. Subscribe there. Please just help us out. We need all the help we can get. But thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Let's get it.